Morning.
Josh, I was ruminating on your comments from the other day. And Wayne Gretzky always talks about after they lost in the Cup final to the Islanders, walked past their room, and there was a real lesson in there that they learned from the Islanders on how to get to the next stage. I'm wondering for you if there's anything you've seen in Vegas last year, Colorado this year. Is there anything that you can see about those teams that are able to take it to the next level that you could implement or that your team is capable of implementing?
Yeah, I think, looking at our team, last year's series, obviously, it was a different animal. I think, the way we played throughout the season, the way we went into the playoffs, I think certainly I felt as though we had a team that could contend to win and play with the top dogs of the league. As I felt that we were one of those teams. So I think when we lose the way we do, last year I think we knew there was a lot of areas that weren't right in our game. Obviously you never know. You get hot, things go right at the right time. You can still make stuff happen in the playoffs, but it just felt this year we had done a lot of those things to prepare. And then we obviously, get out in 5 games. And so I think that's more the message to me is, we obviously did a lot of good things to put ourselves in a great spot after the regular season, did a lot of great things defensively in the regular season. And so there's another level for us to find in postseason hockey for sure. And I think when I look at the way they played, they raised their intensity, their execution, compete level, their speed. Everything was up a notch or two. And, again, I think that's a team that has obviously won and understands what it takes. So I think for our group, it's realizing that we have a lot of sort of the structure, let's say, through the regular season to build a really quality hockey team. And there's intangibles that we need to figure out and find to be an elite playoff team because it's two different things.
Josh, Connor was saying in Game 4 after he was pulled following the second period that a flood of emotions that he'd been suppressing through the series came out, and that one of the things that came to mind was he said that that he needs to stop trying to take everything on his own shoulders, that he needs to dive more into what he described as the team game. Not talking about tactics, but you as teammates, is how do you help him try to break out of that mentality so he doesn't try to be too much of that guy, and that you spread the responsibility around?
Well, I think I interpret it as, he's obviously had a heavy workload with our team for a long time, and in years past, probably more so, he's been shelled a lot of nights, and he has needed to be, the reason we win a lot of games, and he's going to be. That's the type of goalie he is. We're going to win a lot of games with him in the net just based on how good he is. But I think it's not just him, it's everyone. You get to the playoffs, guys in our locker room want to win. You want to bring your best game in the playoffs. And I think even more so, it's just about doing your job and understanding the kind of culmination of all the parts. Doing their collective jobs is stronger than any one individual, trying to do too much or putting too much pressure on themselves. And I think teams find a sense of calm in that. And I think when I was, in this series and looking across the ice, and it felt similar against Vegas last year, those teams had a sense of calm about them in different situations throughout the series. Like they felt that their team game and their structure and their individual jobs were all that they needed to do to be successful. And so I think, again, that's just how I interpret it, that, we all just need to, even in the high pressure moments when the lights get brighter, continue to be that much more confident in our game, raise our individual levels, but do our individual jobs, and know that that's the cog in the wheel that you need to, that's all you need to do as an individual.
Nick, one of the themes I think has been a lot of what Josh was talking about, sort of the difference between the level you guys got to and the Colorados and the Vegases and that consistency. What do you see as step one to take a group of really good regular season team and take it to that level of consistency and competitiveness?
I don't know. I'm not a coach yet. Maybe after my career, I'll have a more detailed answer for you. But I think, yes, we did really well in the regular season. But I think you go back to the way that we played those 35 games where we didn't let in a lot of goals. The way we played there is the way you want to play in the playoffs. And we got away from that and, ended the season on a hot streak of winning 7 games. But, in those 7 games, we didn't play great in every game. But we were still able to find a way. And that's what's important in the playoffs is you're not going to play your best every single game, but you still need to find a way to win games. Especially in a best of 7 series. So we weren't able to do that. Colorado, I mean, they're obviously a really good team and they know how to win. And they punished our mistakes and, at times they made it look pretty easy. But, I look around in that room in there and, every single guy worked their ass off. If we didn't work hard, it wouldn't have been as fun as it was, battling with these guys. So there's always things to improve on. We need to find a way to win games, and when they really matter in the playoffs. And we weren't able to do that enough.
Josh, some people, when pushing to improve, they lean on different things. Scheifele talked about preparation and taking care of his body. Other people talk about, everybody has their own, I want to call it a greatness myth, the thing that you double down on to get to that next level. What's yours when you reflect on that next level you guys need to get to? What do you go to?
Yeah, I think that's always been what a huge part of what drives me in the game is trying to improve. I really love the journey and sort of the search to find ways to get better and improve my game, whether that's, like you said, off the ice, nutrition, who knows what it is. For me currently, I think, this year I improved. Last year all the talk was about my offensive improvement, I think, and this year, I was able to improve my defensive side while still keeping that. And a large part of that is obviously our team structure and relying on that. But I think for me, it's just, I look across the ice at, their top players and obviously, Nathan McKinnon, maybe the Hart Trophy winner this year, Cale Makar, obviously Norris winner, perennial Norris finalist. I feel like I'm chasing after him. I want to try to improve my game to be in that echelon of those guys, because if I feel like when we line up against them, I want to be able to, play at that level. And so I think that's what drives me is, especially after a series like that, when you see those guys head on, the level of execution they had in the series, and the level of, just class, I guess, that they brought on the ice. They push it forward. I want to try to close the gap. So that's kind of what motivates me going into the summer, was seeing that level of play right in front of your eyes, I guess, and trying to to go after that, to push yourself to be better as well.
Nikolaj, time moves fast. It seems like it was just yesterday you signed your lengthy extension with the Jets. There's only one more year left after this on your contract. How much have you turned your mind to maybe the business side of things? Is that something you expect you're going to have a discussion with Chevy either today or in the near term about?
It is not something I've thought about for even 1 minute, to be honest. Like you said yourself, I've been here for a long time now. And, during the season, during the playoffs, I think I can speak for every player that plays during a season and especially the playoffs. That's not the stuff you think about. So I have no idea what's going to happen. But I haven't had my exit meeting with Chevy yet, and yeah.
Getting into the records, we can go through the statistics and that sort of thing. This for maybe both of you to weigh in on. We've heard a lot about some of the physical approaches and that sort of thing. What about the mental approach? Because there was a lot of discussion about handling the ups and downs of a series, and gaining that playoff experience to do so, and the search is still on for that. So, how much of a mental approach goes into the off season and examining and looking at new ideas from that perspective?
Yeah, I think it's a huge part of the game. Certainly, everyone has their own ways of handling the pressure, handling adversity. I think, like for me personally, I've been working with someone on that side for the last number of seasons, and I think it's really helped my game. Just handling the day-to-day ups and downs of the game, and looking at keeping a solid perspective on the season and where you're at. Certainly, I think if you watch some of their comments after the series, which I did, they spoke about sort of that even keel element that they had in the series, even after the first goal in Game 5. That obviously was a tough bounce. Not riding the waves of emotion or being down or up one, and kind of like I said, riding that curve of the ups and downs. And I think that's something that comes with obviously experience in the playoffs with winning. But I think it's something we can do a better job of for sure, is not riding the highs and the lows, not just in the playoffs, but in the regular season. And I think we improved at that this year with the way that we played, but certainly the playoffs, it gets magnitude. It's that much bigger, and there's that much more pressure, especially playing, in Canada. So, like I said, everyone's going to have their own ways of working on that, but I do think it's a really valuable part of the game and something we could improve on.
It's just the way it goes in the NHL that the playoffs can become a bit of a monster for teams. San Jose struggled with that for years. The Leafs not getting to the second round, things like that. It seems it's a theme with this team that you want to take the sting, as you called it, Josh, of what's happened in the playoffs and use it to get better. But what's the key to doing that, to focusing on the playoff failures and using them the right way without the playoffs themselves and the lack of success becoming a bit of a block or an impediment in your mind?
I didn't get that question. My bad.
I think obviously getting over that hurdle, as you mentioned, different teams, whether it was Colorado getting past the second round or the other teams you mentioned, in their, say, struggles to kind of break through that ceiling. I think because we haven't done it, I don't have the answer for you as to how we break through that ceiling. But clearly, I think if you ask the teams that did, they look at probably their failures, or, for us, why haven't we been able to put, playoff success together the last number of years? and going back prior to that, when we do lose a game or two in the playoffs, how are we not able to get out of that sort of streak and, turn one loss or keep one loss at one loss and instead of turning into 2, 3, or 4 in a row? I think we need to look at, all aspects of it, whether it's our preparation throughout the season, the mental side of the game. As I mentioned the other night, I think the execution, how we can all be better as individual players on the ice, and that would be how I think that we handle it right now. But totally analyzing what is there a trend in that length of time that maybe points to a real evident area that we need to improve on.
Josh, just so much talk about the international calendar. I mean, will that impact your decision about World Championships at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be playing this year in the World Champs, but I certainly have big aspirations to be a part of that team in the next few years, and obviously it's a hard one to make. There's so many great players, and I've always really enjoyed representing Canada. I hope I have the chance to do that in the next few years, and it's another part of motivation for me to continue to improve my game in all areas, to help the Winnipeg Jets, and also, try to put myself in a spot to be on those teams, which is would be a huge part of my ultimate goal.
And then Nikolaj, I know you said you don't know what the future will bring, but do you still want to be part of the solution with this team moving forward?
I mean, like I said, I have 1 year left. There has been no talk with Chevy so far, and I'm still gonna definitely have to talk to him with my agent as well. So it's not an answer I can give you right now. I love these guys. They know that. So I don't have an answer for anyone right now.